the next speaker who's going to take up the sustainability gauntlet and run with it in the UK is David Kong, who is the marketing director of the renowned distributor Domus, but he's also the Tile Association's lead on sustainability, and he's been busily compiling sustainability statistics as they were applied to the UK market, and he's going to give us his take on where we are on our sustainability journey in the UK.
Hello, everyone. So what have we got? I can see a stone manufacturer around the corner from China. I can see the fabricators members on my left. Stone Confidence, it says. Sustainability meets design over there. Linux Quartz. Now, what's that? That looks like a quartz-looking marble that's come from afar. Cesar, a great name I've heard over there. Cesar Ceramics. What we've got, porcelain marbles, porcelain limestones. I can see a natural stone concepts over there. There you are. Now, where do you bring your stuff from? Is it from? It's from India. Okay, great. We'll cover that in a second. We've got Marmok sliced stone. So sliced must mean veneers, thin. How thin? How many mil? 3 mil. Okay, thank you. And then we've got premium marbles and granites on my right here. He's on the phone at the moment. And I wonder where they're from. I think they must be a quarry. So I am the marketing director for Domus Tiles. We've been doing tiles for 52 years and advising on architects and interior designers what they should choose. We curate a whole package of designs and materials from stone, ceramics, wall tiles, floor tiles, technical stone, agglomerates, glass, you name it, we do that. And last year I got asked to represent the Tile Association and talk about sustainability. Okay, so sustainability. Here we go. So I'm really talking here, not with my Domus hat, although that's full of some experience, but from the Tile Association. So I'm just going to show you a little bit more about that. So the work group that I'm brought together is from the from the whole cycle, from the manufacturers to the distributors, the retailers. So there's Domus, we're specialists. We do Heathrow Airport, Gatwick Airport, we do Battersea Power Station. And then we've also got Tops Tiles in there. They've got 300 retail shops and they turn over £300 million. So that's a lot of turnover in terms of tiles. So they are there. Then we've got tile fixers and contractors. Okay, every contractor and every fixer installer, nearly, I think we have members. So therefore, if you've got tiles or stone or you want to fix it on your project, they're there in the membership. Okay, there's a quick number. So these are the companies that the Tile Association represent. The majority are contractors, fixers, and installers. So we have to appeal to them. They want to know how best to install things, how to be sustainable, how to make money, how to be good companies, how to do quality. So the Tile Association does training, they do information packs and all that sort of stuff. But the trend information at the moment is sustainability. And this is where we're starting from. Okay, the Tile Association has a website. So if you can't remember anything I've said, you can go to the website and reread it. Okay, the group came together and we basically tried to cover all the subjects that pertain to sustainability. We're talking about the big picture, the objectives and aims of the Tile Association. We're talking about customers. We're looking at the detail of the customers, the products, the reasons to want it, the features and the benefits, the technical stuff, the glue, and so on. We looked at the products, all the various products, the product types, ceramics, porcelain, stone, glass, you name it. We had to look at that because we're fixing it. We looked at our services. So in other words, they're fixing it. They have to buy it. They have to put it in a lorry. They have to have it delivered. They have to cut it up. They have to stick it down. And then they chuck whatever's not used in the bin. And then we have to look at our business. So we're meeting, we're flying, we're driving. We're making waste in our offices and our showrooms. We use electricity and we use gas for our heating and so on and so forth. Okay, we looked at business admin. What else is there? Legislation, rules, taxes, levies. You know that the government, most of the companies are affected. You probably know this. Your council will tell you not to dump the stuff on the road. But I promise you, coming up the road are taxes and levies in terms of producer waste, packaging, environmental emissions. So get to know your regulations and your laws, because you've got to report them. Alternatively, you will be taxed. Okay, the sustainability subject. Look, over there it says sustainability meets design. It's a massive subject, okay? And when I say massive, the Italian Ceramics for Italy, he mentioned the 3 pillars. This comes out of a university master's degree, and it's quite simple. Other people will say there's 7 pillars, and it's the same thing. It's environment, economics, and equity. So people are in this, your money is in it, profit, and the environment's in it. And if you add that all together, it's the big subject. And the key to it is how it all links together. Now, I'm not going to tell you about it. You can go online, you can go on YouTube, and you can learn about it at your own time. It does take a while. People do this for a whole degree, 3 or 4 years, and they even go on to do a master's in this subject. So we're going to just focus on tiles, and we're going to just focus on environment. This slide, for those who don't know, this is another kind of picture that tells you that sustainability is a big subject. This is the SDGs. It sounds like a disease, but it's actually the UN Sustainability Goals. Okay, the number 1 goal is not about environment, i.e. the clouds and carbon dioxide and things like that, or the ozone layer. It's about poverty, right? So if you look at these UN sustainability goals, we go from poverty, we talk about hunger, we talk about war and peace, and then in there are oceans, land, and waste and all that sort of stuff. It's a big subject, and that's why nobody really wants to know about it, okay? It's tough, okay? But we'll get to the bit where you can do something about it. But one thing you could do is read these sustainability goals. Okay, sustainability development. There is a definition for it. I'm not going to preach on about it. Fundamentally, it's about doing stuff now that won't compromise the future, and ultimately that's about our children and all that stuff. So my kids, they'll look at me and say, you've ruined the planet already, okay? And he's probably right, and part of me says, well, I don't care, I'm going to be dead in 400 months, okay? But he'll say, well, I've got to pick up the pieces. And and I've got a boat and a house and all those lovely things in my house. And now I'm being challenged by my children to stop wasting stuff. So it's about now, doing something now, and it's about making sure it's okay for the future. And that's really about our children, because it is a long-term thing. We're talking about many years, and some people, some scientists, are not able to put a number on it, but we know it's there. Okay. Those people who know it's there are those who got drowned because they had flooded, or those who got burnt because the forest burnt down their house, okay, and then so on and so on, or those who had earthquakes because it was affected by the environment. There you go. I don't need to preach to you about more of that. The difference is I haven't been affected, and I live in Abinger in Surrey, so I don't really worry about it. Okay, so our children worry about it. So the TTA and the Tile Association, we have to come up with a strapline. And it's quite easy. We're going to be more sustainable in the tiling industry. It didn't take that long to write. Okay? It is focusing on raw materials. Ultimately, we're sticking down tiles. It's focusing on water and energy, because that's you guys making the stuff. And the guys who make the stuff are the ones who are using the most energy. So that's where we've got to focus. Of course, we do our other bits, like sticking stuff and packaging and chucking stuff in the skip. But in context, the biggest emission is making the stuff. We also got transport. Okay, you mentioned ISO 17889. Okay, Let's have a shout. Anyone in this audience, in this exhibition center, got 17889 ISO? No? Okay, well that's the standard that's just come out, and if you can get that standard, then you are heading towards being more sustainable. If you haven't got that standard, and we get to customers who are demanding that you should have that standard, then you're not going to be able to sell anything. But if you can sell things cheap and get it from other places in the world, then maybe your conscience will be changed and you'll buy cheaper stuff at the expense of the environmental cost. Your call. Okay, so the TTA, we came up with some aims and objectives and some plans. Hey, that's easy. It's all words. Okay, here's a picture. Tile cycle. It's quite easy. We dig the stuff out the ground. We put it in a manufacturing plant. We use a load of energy. We do some really clever stuff with it. It comes out the other end. We package it. We put it in lorries. It weighs a ton. It travels all around the world in ships, airplanes, lorries, half laden, full, cars, and so on. It arrives in a retail shop or on site. Somebody has to stick it down. A whole load is chucked away because of waste. Then people enjoy it, shower in it, have a nice airport, whatever, and eventually we knock the building down, or we do a strip out. And what happens to all that stuff? We need to know. Oh, so majority of it goes into landfill, okay? But we know that tiles and adhesive, the right adhesive, you can grind it up and you can reuse it. So we're talking about the circular economy here. Reuse it, and the question is, reuse it with what? There's a pretty picture. Okay, so we've come up with another strap line, because we've got to have strap lines. Ceramic tiles, the sustainable choice. Says who? Says me. With a lifetime of durability. Yep, we know it lasts a lifetime, and I can prove it. Ceramic tiles are fireproof. I can prove that. Waterproof. I can prove that. And scratch resistant, and I can prove that. Okay, so the Tile Association wrote down all the top reasons why you should choose tiles. We made up 41 reasons, okay? And in principle, it's durability, fire resistance, recyclability, health and wellness, porosity, thermal mass, can't read that, cleaning and maintenance, design, and budget, okay? Now, I'm not going to go through all of those. It's on the website, okay? But we're in a stone show, so what's the difference between us and them, okay? Not a lot, okay? Maybe you could talk about porosity. Now, I only know that from experience, because how many customers come back to me and ask me to fix something that we've sold? And usually it's because we haven't sealed it, we haven't cleaned it properly, we haven't fixed it properly. But at the end of the day, it does last forever and it doesn't burn. And most of the time, if you have a flood, you can still carry on using it. So what are we doing about it? So the TTA, and I'm afraid we're in our infancy, we've come up with a whole list of ways to be more sustainable. And we're going to ask and get our members to start, I'll persuade them to start working on it. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I'm going to tell you the highlights, the headers. It's about energy. Hey, the manufacturers are talking about energy all the time. Gas and electricity. It's about waste. I've just told you of how much we put in skips and chuck it away landfill. Transportation. Okay, we'll do a quick thing on transportation. Our stuff is heavy. A square meter of tiles, 10 meters thick, square meter is 25 kilos. If it's thicker, it's heavier. I don't need to do the maths. If it's 20 mil thick, it's double that, okay? We've got products, a whole host of products. When we're tiling, we usually think about porcelain for us, but we've got stone, we've got glass, we've got cement, we've got terrazzo and so on. Packaging, well, packaging is always on the cards because you see it. In our world, it's about pallets, so wooden pallets, could be plastic, plastic wrapping, paper wrappings, all that kind of stuff. Financial support, well, who's going to pay for it, okay? Is there government subsidies? Are there council subsidies? And so on the Tile Association, they're the sort of things that we're going to point people to so that you can get money to be more environmental. And then finally, sort of expert advice. Hey, I don't know anything, okay? So turn to an expert, okay? And there's lots of them. Look, there's a company over there called Sustainability Meets Design, okay? Find out how expert they are, okay? Now, generally speaking, if they're doing assessments for buildings or products, then they know their stuff because they have to be trained. We'll come to that in a second. So that's the sort of thing that we're dealing with in the Tile Association. And when it manifests itself, we're basically asking people to waste less, use less fuel, use less electricity, all the things that we've heard about already. Some of the unusual things is design the layouts so that we cut less waste. Now that's a big deal. We're asking architects to collaborate with tile advisors to create a layout so that they can cut the tiles and make your lovely rooms or your lovely buildings and waste less. But of course, what's happening at the moment is that we are selling bigger and bigger tiles. So we are creating more waste. So we've got to get our heads around that one. Otherwise, we're going to go back to tiny little mosaics. And they went out with the wind. Oh, when did they go out? Oh, no, they're coming back. You tell us, Joe, okay? So, okay, so those in the know will know about this. This is embodied carbon and operation carbon. If we're talking about carbon footprint, okay, you need to know operational carbon and you need to know embodied carbon. Fortunately, in our world, the operational carbon is small. Once you've stuck it down, all we've got to do is clean it and maintain it. However, if you make the stuff, we're using a lot of energy and hence we're creating a lot of emissions. Okay, anyone know how big a ton of carbon dioxide is? There we go, it's on the screen. It's 10 square meters. There we go, 10 square meters. Who cares? It's 1 ton, okay? But when we start talking about the number of tons, we can start to get a picture. So when my colleague says 1 million tons of carbon dioxide, that's a kilometer squared of carbon dioxide. Now, how big is the planet? It's 27,000 miles diameter, okay? So get your head around that, okay? So, and that's part of the problem. So we've got to listen to the scientists. Okay, here you go, a number. No one's told me this number until I had to go look for it, but it's in your EPD, okay? What is the carbon footprint of a square meter of 10 mil tiles? It's 10 kilos per square meter, give or take 1 kilo, okay? That's 10 mil. So if it's 20 mil, the likelihood is going to be double. And if it's 3 mil, like that chap selling over there, it's probably 30% of it, okay? But you need to know the difference, okay? Okay, the operational carbon footprint for tiles is 0.04 kilograms per square meter. 0.04, what's that? That's 4 grams. Is that right? 40 grams, sorry. 40 grams. It's a quarter of a cup of tea, all right? All right. So that's per square meter per 50 years. So we can ignore operational carbon, all right? There you go, got a number. And the other things that make tiles and any other products similar in their characteristic are that they have low ozone, low CFC emissions. So in other words, the parts per million are very small. They have low acidification. Acidification creates acid rain. That's very, very small. And eutrophication, generally speaking, you talk about eutrophication with food products and fertilizers. This is very, very low. It's potassium. Basically, is it ruining our riverways and soils? Okay, an architect said to me, I hate EPDs. Stop telling me about your EPDs, okay, because that's numbers, okay, and he's got to work out, and he's got to deal with all these products. Now, here's a little trick. We found this website. It's called Material Pyramid, okay. This is a snapshot of all building materials and their carbon content, okay, and you can change it. So, at the very top, if I could zoom in, at the very top is aluminium. And then the next layer, guess what? It's metals. And then the layer below it, tier 3, it starts to be things, coarser metals. And layer 4, hey, it's ceramics. We're there, okay? In the pyramid of carbon footprint, we're up there, okay? And I told you the number, it was 10 kilos per square meter. And as we move down the pyramid, we can see coarser materials. And guess what is sitting at the bottom with very low carbon footprint? It's all the wood products, okay? MDF, HDF, solid wood, engineered wood, okay? So those are the things that we need to make sure as an industry that we are competing well with them from an environmental point of view. Remember this website, it's Danish, it's called Material Pyramid, but it's Danish, so you've got to stick an E on each end, each word, okay? Material Pyramid. Go look it up yourself. Okay, Portland stone. Now, I'm a ceramics guy. I'm porcelain. We do a bit of stone. We used to do a lot of it. And over there's loads of stone. And everyone keeps telling me the carbon footprint is amazing for stone. So I got an EPD for Portland stone. Portland stone goes on Whitehall, doesn't it? It's slabs of it, goes on the floors down Downing Street, okay? Okay, here we go. Their EPD. This is not me, okay? 1 cubic meter of Portland stone is 617 kilos of carbon dioxide. Huh. Work that one out, okay? I can't work that one out. I had to get someone to calculate it. I'm working on 10 mil thick tiles. Okay, well, I have worked out. If I make a tile out of Portland stone, generally speaking, it's 20 mil. Okay, I'm not lying. I doubt if you get a 10 mil Portland stone tile. And there it is in the middle. It's 12 kilos of carbon dioxide per square meter. So it's not a lot of difference than porcelain. Okay, so we need to get together and make sure that we're winning in the flooring and walling industry instead of beating each other up. And from our tile fixers' point of view, that's what they prefer because they're just sticking the stuff. Okay, transportation. Now this is important. Why? Because our stuff's heavy. How heavy is it? Okay, I can tell you a square meter of tiles, 10 mil thick, is 25 kilos. Okay, work it out. Right. If you go on government websites or you go on all those institutional websites, they will tell you, okay, and they've done the clever maths, how many grams of CO2 per kilogram weight per kilometer. Okay, we got it, okay? Grams, kilograms, kilometers, okay? So when I ship out, or when I order from the Italian manufacturers a container, I know the weight of it, okay? I know that it's traveled by train or by road, okay? And I know how many miles it's taken. 1,200 kilometers to get from Sassuolo to my depot. I also buy tiles from Malaysia, which is further than India, okay? But they've got to go around South Africa in a ship or the canal. What's that big canal? The Suez Canal, that's it. So they go through the Suez Canal. Okay, I've added it all up. Almost 27,000 kilometers by ship, okay? Put a container on there. Now we have to know. So the principle of buying local is true, okay? We did the math. Every single job that we looked at, if we had bought it locally, our footprint would be smaller. So what's the point of that? You know, they're in China or in Malaysia or in Italy. All I can say is maybe help local factories do a joint venture and make things locally. I know it's a difficult one. It's about economies of scale, all that kind of stuff. But you've got to think of in that terms, especially if the footprint for our heavy products is this high. Okay, put that into context. Here we go. Here's a graph. If I fly a ton of tiles, we did it the other day, okay? We had a whole load of broken tiles and the customer wanted it now. We flew it over. Look at that number. It is 33 times more costly in its carbon footprint than if I sent it by sea. But if I sent it by sea, he'd have to wait 2 months. There you go. There's the conundrum. Okay, so the blue graph is aeroplanes. The dark grey is fully laden transport. The light grey is average. The orange is train. And the green is by ship. But it isn't as straightforward as that because it's about distance and it's about weight. So there you go. Work out the maths yourself. I don't have to do it. But from our point of view, what we're looking at, particularly with our Italian manufacturers, is that we try and ship everything by train now. And we have to tell our customers they have to wait. And if they want it shipped quicker, then they have to pay the premium for sending it by lorry or by aeroplane. There we go. So doing something about it. Okay, laws, acts, regulations and tax levies. You're going to get the bill at some point. Even the Indians, even the Chinese, even the Malaysians, you'll get the bill somehow. Okay? So if you read all the laws, and I've listed 25 of them, and if you join the TTA, you'd get a summary. I'm not going to go through them, but it's about waste, it's about packaging, it's about energy, it's about environmental impacts, electrical stuff, road traffic, noise, and climate change. So there's lots of regulations and rules, and we've summarized it for our members. So if you become a member, you can read the summary. Renewables. We did a thing on renewables. It's a big subject, isn't it? So basically, what are we talking about? You know, windmills and wind farms. We're talking about photovoltaics. We're talking about hydrogen. So here we go. Are any of your factories in Italy cooking tiles with hydrogen? 3. So they can only fire for 8 days in a year with hydrogen. So it's still in its infancy, okay? And can it heat to the same temperature as gas? Yes, is the answer. There we go. What about electricity? Why isn't everyone... So the cost of hydrogen is 5 times. So it's 5 times more to cook with hydrogen than it is with fossil fuel gas. So it's not, sustainable, but expensive, okay? So you're basically only the rich, okay? Okay, so we've got a conundrum there. Deal with that. Photovoltaic. So we hear about factories, those who can invest, those who can afford, acres and acres of photovoltaics. Great stuff. Can make your own energy. It's all about the sun's energy and trying to convert it. Photovoltaics are one of those. The rest of it is indirect energy, so that's a big subject in its own right. But have you read the essay on recycling photovoltaic panels? Okay. Does anyone know the carbon footprint of making a photovoltaic panel? No one's told me. I had to go and look it up. Okay. And it's still a big number. In fact, it is 10 kilos per square meter. Okay. Oh, that magic 10. Okay. Anyway, then you can go and get carbon credits. So that's for the big boys. Then you can do cogeneration. Now, I love hearing factories using cogeneration or cogen energy. Cogen energy is about sucking up all the waste energy, putting it through a pipe, and putting it through a very special thing that turns it into energy. Have I summarized it correctly? I think so. There's a whole load of gadgetry in it, but essentially we are sucking up all the energy that's been wasted. So I love that stuff. And then you can do carbon offsetting. And then we've talked about circular economy, a big subject. You can go on the Ellen MacArthur website. She's that famous lady who sailed around the world, and she has a foundation, and they've got lots of assets, lots of training materials about understanding circular economy. But if you want a snapshot from me what circular economy means, it means waste nothing. There you go. That's what it means. So, just your day this morning, what did I waste? I had a pint of Guinness and I threw my pint mug in the bin. I wasted that. What did they do with that? Okay. I woke up this morning and I realized I had some chicken for lunch in the evening, and the bones and the cardboard packaging, who cares? Put it in the bin, left it alone. Okay. Oh, there you go. There's our dilemma. That's at the personal level. Okay, so at the industrial level, we are talking about millions and millions of tons of waste, and that's what we've got to deal with. Not my little dustbin, but the big skips. Okay, just a quick one. The industry, when I say the building industry, basically we're doing buildings. You should all know about BREEAM, you should know about LEED, and you should know about SCAR, plus all the other things. These are building assessments, and the buildings that are coming through are being assessed by all these clever people, and they get accredited. And if you don't have certain things, then they won't specify your products to go on that building. You will be stuck with small buildings like my wife's splashback, okay? You won't be doing airports or Battersea Power Station or Google's offices. They will be demanding from you certification about environmental credentials. Okay, your environmental credentials, what are they looking for? They're looking for businesses with ISO 14001. ISO 14001, let's have a look around. Ah, Mr. India, do you have ISO 14001? No. Mr. Systone, do you have ISO 14001? He's busy, okay? We'll find out. But ISO 14001 is a methodology to make sure that you are developing your environmental standards. You have your goals and your ambitions. It boils down to energy, all the stuff that I talked about. And then you have to prove that you've done it, okay? And the way you prove it is you have to write a report at the end of each year. Hey, who wants to write a flipping report every year? But that's the deal. That's the cost, okay? So the good companies, they write reports. And I would imagine most of the companies that you represent in Italy are writing environmental reports, and they're very well written and sometimes a bit scientific. But if the marketing chaps get on it, you might be able to understand it a bit more. Okay, and then the Ceramics of Italy, they talked about EPDs. I love EPDs. It's about data. But I tell you, most people hate it because they've got to work out what the data means. I'll show you that very quickly. You've got eco labels, you've got in wood, FSC, and so on. These are all sustainability management accreditations that you should be looking out for. You should be looking for health product credits. You should be looking for falafel fate. Hey, what's falafel fate apart from a difficult word? It's anything usually that emits some sort of emission. And usually that means it's got glue or resin in it. It's quite simple. It's glue or resin. Look out for that, and then make sure you've got a certificate. What else? Green Guard. I don't know enough about that. Okay, BREEAM. It's been going for 30 years, so it's very well established. It does all the buildings. They assess all the buildings for the top environmental issues. If you want to pass, in other words, get credits, you have to have a life cycle assessment with your product. You have to have an EPD. You have to have a responsible sourcing certificate. You have to have, and this is not for me, but for the tilers, a construction site impact statement. There you go. Have that, okay? And then you'll be able to support BREEAM projects. Let me tell you, nearly all government buildings, okay, and all blue chip buildings are BREEAM assessed, okay? So get those, get up there, or else those who are up there are going to get the business. Okay, this is coming over from America, LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So most people know it because most people try and sell in the States, big market. It's been going for 30 years. It has the same sort of profile as BREEAM. The difference is they are really hot on VOCs. They want to know if your product has low emitting stuff. So I'd look around and go, well, tiles, yeah, I know that it's burnt off and so on. Ceramics, that's pretty good. Stone, well, we just dig it out of the ground, don't we? Technical stone. Terrazzo. Agglomerates. How do you put those together? They use binders. They use cement binders. Do you know the EPD of cement? Actually, the EPD of cement is no different to porcelain. So it's got the same footprint. Do you know the volatile organic compounds that come out of resin and glue? So Corella, haha, I see Corella over there. They have a lovely certificate that says no VACs, okay? So that's great. You can buy that. Big question is, how much VOCs did they create to make the stuff? We need to see that certificate. Another assessment, this is for fit out. You may come across it. It's called SCAR. It's been around for many, many years. This is doing an environmental assessment for a fit out project. Okay, it's quite easy. You read a 100-page document, you read the criteria, and you get points if you could get the certificates. Certificates, same sort of thing. Have an EPD, have a cradle-to-cradle certificate, which is a trademark, not a concept. I beg your pardon. Cradle-to-cradle is a concept, but there is a Dutch company called Cradle to Cradle that sell assessments, and they're also international. So be mindful of that. It's a concept and an organization, and the two aren't the same. We've got ISO 14001, and we've already talked about that, and no one around here has got it. And then, of course, I wanted to cover timber. Okay, you don't need me to talk about it. You can go on their website, which is the Institute of Surveyors, Chartered Surveyors, and on their website you will find the environmental assessment. You can do it for free if you were a builder or a designer. You put in all the inputs and you get a number which tells you how environmental your building is. Okay, so of course to do that they'll want the environmental number for the product that they're specifying. ISO, we discussed that, or you discussed that, so I won't cover that, but it's a nice environmental standard by the international organization. EPDs, you've already discussed that. I'm going to quickly fly through. If you want to read an EPD, they are so boring. Okay, so 5 things to look out for. Look for its valid date. Look at the unit of measure. I am always dealing with square meterage, okay? Portland stone is dealing with cubic meters. And of course, if you go with the cement boys, they're talking about tons, okay? So when you get a number, remember what unit of measure they're talking about. And then you've got to do some maths. Okay, it tells you about raw materials, it tells you how they're made. It's always good. The thing to watch out for is, are they using a kiln or a furnace? If they're using a kiln or a furnace, they're going to have a big footprint, okay? And the only way they're going to get that footprint down is by being electric and using renewables, or they're using hydrogen. So they've got to do more things. Now, some of the innovations that I've heard are that the new chemistry of tiles means that they can cook the tile at half the temperature that they need to at the moment. That's what some of the ceramic boys are telling me. So seeing is believing, and if they do that, we'll buy it off them and we'll promote it to architects and interior designers. Oh, that's a nice little paragraph in there. Mustn't miss that one. It's called service life. Look out for that one. In all EPDs, they have to have a paragraph about service life. How long will the product last before you have to replace it? Fortunately, for ceramics, it's a lifetime. But that's not scientific, is it? Okay. Unfortunately for stone, it's a lifetime. But in an EPD, it's 50 years. It's a lifetime of a building, and it's been scientifically proven. Okay, then they've got these funny charts, which are about life cycle. I'm not going to go through that. You're going to read that yourself. But when I said 10 kilograms per square meter, I wasn't lying. There is the number. The guy here, with all his collective things, produced this document with all the scientists, and there it is. 1.05 e to the 1. What does that mean? It's no wonder nobody wants to read these things, okay, because it's a scientific data number. It means 10.5. 10.5 kilograms per square meter. That's all it is. Just have to learn how to read those numbers, okay? Here's a funny one. Ozone layer. This is just here. 6.1 e to the minus 10. What the hell does that mean? Okay, put 9 zeros in front of it. Okay, so it's 0.000000009. It's a tiny number, so you can ignore it. Okay, but when you look at these tables, you ignore the whole thing. Okay, so get somebody who likes reading numbers. And the other thing is, look out for the acronyms. Okay, because who knows what GWP means, or ODP, or so on. If you read the acronyms here at the bottom, okay, it took me a year to find them. It tells you it's global warming potential, ozone layer depletion, eutrophication. There you go. It's easy when you dig deep, okay? So the marketing boys have got to get on that and basically make it easier. Okay, and if you don't want to read the whole thing, just read this statement, okay? It's called interpretation. It's one paragraph. It's made up of 100 words. And guess what? It says all the carbon footprint is in the life cycles of A1, 2, and 3, which is raw materials, transportation, and manufacturing. Okay, there you go. Manufacturers, you've got to do your bit. Okay, and that's the proof. You know, I'm not banging on at you, but there's the number. Okay, Mape, our favorite grout manufacturer. Unless you're friends of Instamac and all the others. So there we go. They've done an EPD, grout, sorry, adhesive. You've got to stick tiles down. You've got to stick stone down. So you better know what the environmental emissions for adhesive is. Do you know what that is? Well, there you go. Get the EPD and it'll tell you. 5.16 to the 3. It's like, what does that mean? Okay. Well, you've got to know the unit of measure. Their unit of measure happens to be a kilogram, not a square meter. Okay. And I've got to move the decimal point. And in the end, I've worked out it's half a kilogram. Read that. It's half a kilogram of CO2. There's the carbon footprint of 1 kilogram of adhesive. Okay. Who cares? Right? Half a kilogram of CO2 for 1 kilogram of adhesive. Get your head around that, okay? Well, we had to get our head around it because roughly speaking, you use 2 millimeters of adhesive, you stick it on a square meter of tiles, and you use half a kilo, and now we know the footprint of tiling. We're adding an additional kilo for every kilo of carbon footprint for every square meter of tile we lay. So in other words, tiles are 10, adhesive is 1, it's 11. There we go. It's a number, all right? Okay, look out for recycled content, okay? You were banging on about recycled content. Okay, the detail. Pre-consumer and post-consumer. Do you know the difference? Okay, right, recycled content. We're basically taking the waste and we're putting it back into a cycle, right? Now, where does all the energy reside? The energy resides at the end. It's gone through a furnace or a kiln. It's not just for ceramics, it's the same for cement. It's the same for anything that goes through a kiln, metals and so on. So if you are recycling, you want to know whether they're recycling pre-kiln or post-kiln. And we use the word pre-consumer or post-consumer. Hey, that's marketing, just makes it a bit more confusing, but you need to know that. Why? Here's a certificate. We've been told to produce a product which has got 40% recycled content. Here's a certificate from our best manufacturer in the world called Marazzi. Okay, certificate, independently assessed. Pre-consumer content, recycled content, 40%. Fantastic. Pre-consumer. How many percent for post-consumer? Well, if I look at that certificate, it's 0. Okay, so what I'm saying is know your recycled content characteristics. More stuff to know. Okay. Okay, quick summary of sustainability of tiles. Lasts forever, don't burn, durable, scratch resistance, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so one way of making it easy is to label things. So one thing that we're doing for our architects and designers is labeling it with ISO credentials, EPDs, and so on. Okay, so terrazzo. Terrazzo. Yes, stone fragments mixed in cement. Okay, now we sell terrazzo. It's really sustainable because they're using recycled stone. But what's the binder? The binder is cement. Get the EPD. Hey, the EPD tells me it's got the same footprint. It's 10. So is it as sustainable as ceramics? No. Okay, the difference is that they're using recycled stone. So the answer could be yes. Okay, so that's your call. Which one do you want? But if you're doing carbon footprint, look at the EPD, and then all will be revealed. And don't just listen to my sales guys. Oh, crummy, there's recycled stone mixed with cement. Agglomerate stone mixed with resin. Resin, have you seen an EPD of resin? Okay, it is really difficult to make a really high performance agglomerate stone with organic resin. Okay, hopefully someone will innovate and do that. Get the EPD and then you'll know the carbon footprint. Terrazzo, we've just talked about that. Terracotta, it is a ceramic. The only reason why I bring that up is because terracotta, it is fired at a much lower temperature, but hey, we rarely put it on the floors because it's easy to break. We put it on the walls. Mosaic glass, well, it's only because we tile glass a lot, and glass has a very mature recycling industry. Concrete tiles, everyone likes concrete tiles. What a trend, okay? Now we've got concrete looking porcelain. But concrete, it's made of clinker. Concrete is made of lime. It's put through a furnace and it's cooked at 1200 degrees centigrade, just like ceramics. So guess what the footprint is? Not a lot different from ceramics, okay? So whenever you buy concrete, just remember it goes through a furnace. Okay, so all companies should, I said the word should, really have a database of all the products and what their environmental credentials are. Does it have an EPD? Does it have recycled content? Is it made by a manufacturer? It's got ISO 14001 or any other credential. Get your database sorted out. Oh my God, that's a load of work, okay? Get your admin guy to work hard at that one. Get your manufacturers to give you the stuff. Okay, once you've got the stuff, you can make it easy for your customers. Stick it on your website. You don't have to answer the questions anymore. They go on your website. The website tells you, okay? So I'm afraid with my Domus hat on, we've done that. I'm fed up of answering those questions. Okay, put it on your literature. Put the numbers on. Okay, Florim, one of your fantastic Italian companies. We love Florim. They've done more than ISO 14001. You've got to look out for this assessment. This is B Corp. This is benefits corporations. This is the kind of the next stage of environmental assessments. This isn't just looking at your impact on your environment, it's making you look at the impact on your people, your communities, your county, your country, your planet, I don't know, you name it. It's making you do that. So what does that mean, okay, when you do that? Okay, they do all the environmental stuff, but they are making you look at how you are fair with your benefit, with your profits. That's what they're really doing, okay? Are you sharing the profits well between your staff and your community? Are you doing community projects? Are you doing statewide projects? Are you contributing to nation projects? Are you contributing to global projects? So Florim are one of these companies that do this. And actually, so do things like IKEA and Coca-Cola and so on. And they are assessed at this B Corp standard, and it is really high. I looked at doing it for our company. There was so much that we couldn't do because I've got a 5-litre car, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. I've got a big salary, and I'm going to have to tell everyone what my salary is, okay, and share it amongst others. So we've got a big cultural shift to make if we are going to become B Corp. Okay, so factories are putting lots of photovoltaics on their roofs and you're offsetting your energy. It's great because you're not using fossil fuels from the network. You're using renewable energy, so that's a great thing to do. But remember the cost of recycling it. These things only last for 25 to 30 years. We are going to have a mountain of renewable photovoltaic panels to deal with shortly. Amazingly, the French have already built a recycling plant. So are we going to send it all to France? I'm sure others will do it if it's profitable. Okay, raw materials. Have we got any raw material producers here? I'm talking about clay, sand, feldspar, rhyolite, all that stuff. Okay, here's a question for you, Mr. Italy. Is all your clay coming from Italy? Where's it coming from? Ukraine? Yeah. Turkey? Not too far away. Okay, right. So I get asked, when is it going to run out? And the answer is, I don't know. Okay. But if Swallow is importing their clay from Ukraine, and I heard some of my friendly Italian manufacturers and Spanish manufacturers bringing clay from America, okay, we know we have an abundance issue, okay? We have a scarcity issue, right? Okay, maybe there's stuff in the UK, we can get it from Stoke, but we can't afford it. So what do? We get it from Malaysia or Ukraine, okay? So there you go, there's our new dilemma. So geographic issue, money. Yes, so there, it's only made in certain areas, but it runs out. I don't know the answer, okay? Okay, well, let me give you a hint. Portland stone, okay? Really abundant at some point, okay? On their website, it's going to run out when? It's going to run out in 20 years' time, okay? It runs out. I'd just like to know when, okay? So when someone says it's abundant, I'd say how many years? 1,000,000 years? 1,000 years? 100 years and so on. I'll be dead in 400 months, okay? So it's really, by the way, 400 months means I'm 96, by the way, okay? Okay, raw materials. I don't have an answer for that, but that's a question you should be asking. Here you go. Here's a picture of cogen, pipes and a big square, a bit of equipment, but it's amazing. Sucks up all the energy, turns it into electricity. Big presses, pressing at millions of tons, sorry, thousands of tons. It's all electricity. So if you're using renewable electricity, that's great. Kilns, they're as long as my street. These chaps in Italy, they've got in Spain and so on, and they're fired with gas, okay? So they've got a big deal to deal with, which is about making those more efficient, which they're trying to all the time, to converting to renewables, hydrogen, renewable electricity and so on. Okay, we did talk about ISO 14001. I think Caesar have got ISO 14001. So, okay, they've got ISO 14001. Who cares? Read their sustainability report, okay? That's where you get an insight in what they believe in and what they're doing about sustainability. And that means that they're investing in cogen, they're buying things from renewable places, they're paying their staff well, they're giving them full-time contracts, all sorts of things. And then it's your call. You decide whether you buy their stuff. Okay, I'm just going to talk about wood really quickly, okay? Because we are having to compete with wood. And when I say we, okay, I'm talking about Domus, that's where I see it, okay? But that means that the tile fixers are having to compete at some pace. And we see this because the tile fixers are now fixing wood floors. Why? Okay, there's two big certifications, the Forestry Stewardship Certification, and there's PEFC. These are the standard sustainability assessments that give you confidence that they're doing the right thing. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what it is. You read it. Okay, engineered wood. Laminates made of wood. LVT. Aha, what's that made of? Okay, plastic, I always say. Actually, the majority of LVT is made of limestone. It's lime, it's clinker, almost like cement, okay? Don't believe me, read the EPD, okay? Okay, here we go. Carbon footprint. Engineered wood, 1 square meter. Tiles, 10 kilos, yeah? Engineered wood, 0.2, 200 grams. It's half a cup of tea, okay? Per square meter. But it doesn't last forever. It does burn. And if it floods, you're going to have to rip it out, okay? So that's what we're competing with. Engineered laminate. Cheap, yeah? Look at the carbon footprint of this. -2. Why is it -2? Because most of the energy and most of the industry is using recycled wood. And because of wood and sequestration, they're putting that into their number. And the carbon footprint for laminates is a minus number. LVT, 1 square meter, 6 kilos per square meter. Okay, why? I thought it would be more or less. It's because the life cycle of LVT is a lot shorter than ceramics. So you have to replace it more often. And that number is built into the EPD. So you've got to read it. But we know that already, don't we? We just don't know the number. Okay, and then we've got packaging. Okay, move to recyclable and recycling packaging. Move away from plastic. Get electric trucks. I don't need to go on and bang on about that. Get efficient lorries. Separate your waste. Reuse your stuff. Turn all your rubbish into aggregate at the very least, instead of landfilling it. Know your business miles. There you go. So, the poor accounts department in Domus. They're the ones we turn to. They're the ones that get all the bills. And all the bills, we made them turn into carbon footprint. And we worked out that our business creates 107 tons of carbon each year. We've got a number of showrooms with the lights burning brightly. We've got heating on that no one switches off. We've got all that paper that goes in the bin that no one really deals with. We've got all that staff who chuck their food packaging in with the recycling packaging. We've got tiles. We've got tiles that come back. And we don't want to sell them because they're damaged or chips. So we have to chuck them away. Okay. So we can calculate all that. And if you calculate it, then you can start doing something about it. So back to the TTA. If you want to know more ways to be more sustainable, go on the website, read our document, ways to be more sustainable, and start picking from the list things that you can do. There we go. Finished.
There you go. A truly British insight where the unit of measurement is a half a cup of tea. But yeah, basically, as David said, there's a lot of work to be done. And the key to doing it is research and measurement, really.
Yeah, you've got to do it in your bit.
And you've got to do it, in the bits you control, the things you can control, and probably don't worry about the things you can't control. But thank David for doing this. There's a question coming up.
Thank you. I would like to point out that when you show the global warming potential of the food product, is not correct to show the negative number and even the really low number, because at the moment the European Commission is reviewing the way how the CO2 is accounted for the plant-based product.
Yeah.
So I am confident that in the next year will not be possible to show the negative numbers and really no low numbers. The low numbers is just due because there's some positive contribution and negative one.
Okay, let's forget about the numbers, okay? Basically, trees, all that kind of stuff is renewable, okay?
It's depending how you manage the forest.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to manage the forest. You've got to manage the soil. There's a lot of work to do there, okay? But when you pluck out a tree, you can plant another one, okay? And also, if you make a bit of furniture or a bit of wood, I mean, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm a tile man. But it means that that bit of wood stores carbon, okay?
Yeah, but the point is how you calculate it.
Yeah.
And we pay $500,000
–
Euro studio.
Okay.
That shows that.
Tell me if you like this answer, okay? When I dry a tree, okay, I'll get all the wood out of it. I'm left with carbon, yeah? It's not in the atmosphere, is it? I've got a bit of carbon, all right? It weighs a ton. Do you know how much carbon dioxide is in that? A ton. Roughly speaking, a ton of tree, dry, is a ton of carbon dioxide. So the principle is if I grow loads of trees, okay, and I don't burn them or let them go to waste, I have stored carbon, okay? Now it's very different to clay, and it's very different to stone. I just think we need to know that, okay? Your call, it's your call. You want to buy tiles, stone, or wood floors, carpet, vinyl, okay? We're all competing together. But if you know the facts and you want to be sustainable, you kind of just need to get all that data. Okay. I'll probably get fired for not promoting tiles, actually. Any more questions? And otherwise I'm going to leave it and have a pint of Guinness and take my cup home. Cheers.